There's an invitation to take your shoes off.
Definitely.
Great. Okay, great. So my name is Deri Reid, and I am a community chef. And I'm from a very far away town called Carmarthen. It's taken me a long time to get here today. And I run a sustainable restaurant in Carmarthen called The Warren, and a community kitchen and allotment project, community interest company, Cegin, Hedyn. And I'm here today because I'm really passionate about making local seasonal organic food accessible to anyone, no matter what your income is. So we're going to do the talk out here, and then I'm going to take you in and we're going to watch a really nice documentary that the BBC done, so it's really good. And I wanted to tell you about Sam, who I met in 2009, 2010, and Sam was part of a organisation called Unlimited, which is still going to today, and they had an award for social entrepreneur, which somehow, even though I was a self-employed chef selling food on a farmer's market, somehow I was given this award, and this award was a pivotal point for me because I didn't really understand what a social entrepreneur even was. I just knew what an entrepreneur was, and Unlimited opened a door for me to show me that it wasn't a kind of just a capitalist road for an entrepreneur, and that what I was doing already had a lot of social impact already. And this was back in 2010, and I was on a farmer's market selling produce, doing vegetarian, vegan food. And so what this award allowed me to take a year out from having to bounce around different restaurants and struggle to pay my rent and food, to take a year out to focus on what was then a project that I called The Ethical Chef. So yeah, I wanted to thank Sam for that, and my memory was at the awards when she was handing me the check, I wanted to give it back to you. Do you remember that?
Yep.
I'm not good enough for this award, I remember that, and so it's really important, it's really interesting, the neurodivergent talk that we were at earlier, how all of these kind of dots are connecting each other now. So I really appreciate having that talk today. It was really eye-opening for me, so thank you for that. I'm going to be in touch. And then Stefan, an incredibly special human for me. I met Stefan through Sam when he was doing his social entrepreneur journey of the Reboot Wellies in Glastonbury. And if it wasn't for Stefan, the Warren is very unlikely it would be what it is today. It was me meeting him and saying, hey, do you want to open a restaurant together? And both of us being as neurodivergent, spicy as we are, we just said yes. He quit his job, I quit my job, boom. The Warren was kind of 6 months down the line. We just opened it with, like, I don't know, a plan like that maybe. So yeah, two very special people to me, so I'm really honoured to be here today. I'm also ADHD, self-diagnosed, but everyone tells me that I am, so I'm just going with it. Also dyslexic, so I've had quite an interesting journey through my career, and just kind of found that social entrepreneurship has been a way that I can kind of create the environment that works for me, because I never really fit in the kind of in the world of employment and other people's kitchens and all of those kind of things. I was so passionate about the organic, nutritional, healthy food that it was very difficult to get a job doing that. So I had to just create my own. So, right then, how did I get to where I am today? Through that, basically. Let's go to Cegin, Hedyn. So Cegin, Hedyn is a social enterprise, community kitchen and a community allotment project, and it was set up because what I was finding with the restaurant is that my goal of having healthy, nutritious food for my community was not being met when a vast majority of my town couldn't afford to come and eat at the restaurant. With the cost of living crisis just skyrocketing, my soup that I remember being £4.50 when we first opened is now £9, and it's just not realistic to have, in the restaurant, we're paying everyone to make things from scratch. We're buying local, organic, seasonal food, and we're doing table service. We're right in the heart of the town centre. We care for our staff. It costs a lot of money to provide that service, whereas community kitchens offer an even more magical experience where you can offer all of those things and money is much less of an issue. That anyone that's walking through the doors in a community kitchen can be fed, whether they have money to pay for it or not. And so that was the key to setting up Cegin Hedyn, was creating that space. And I've been inspired by many projects around the UK and the world, but nothing that I visited was focusing so much on where the food had come from. Was about it being seasonal, about it being organic, about it being ethical, and I needed to see if my ADHD mind was able to create this. So I approached a community centre that had a kitchen already in it, and there's loads of them. There's loads in Carmarthen, and fortunately landed upon two very, very kind leaders of that community centre, and their kitchen had closed because of lockdown, and they were desperate to see it get reopened. So I proposed the idea of me going in there once a week, cooking a curry. I say I'll turn up every week. I'll raise a bit of money to start it off, but I want it to be just like the Warren, but I don't want money to be a barrier for people. We didn't have any money, we didn't have any funding, but I paid my wages forward. They paid the venue forward. I contacted my suppliers for the restaurant. They paid the ingredients forward. So we had, like you were saying earlier, pull your resources in. I had a lot of resources from the restaurant. My customer base from the restaurant too were very generous, and we did a bit of a fundraising digital campaign, and also did like a launch party to try and raise a bit of money. And boom, we were there. We didn't need any loans or any grants or anything like that. We just started. It was a gamble. It wasn't really much of a gamble apart from our time. But week upon week upon week, it gained momentum, and more people were coming in, and I feel like a lot of people were testing whether we were living up to what we would say we were doing, which was the pay what you can afford. Not pay what you want or not pay what you feel, but pay what you can afford. And so as you walk into Cegin Hedyn, there's a token placed next to an information board to say, look, if times are hard, take one of these tokens. When you got to pay, rather than paying with cash or tapping your phone, just hand one of those things in, 0 questions asked. And the 0 questions asked thing is incredibly important, because I've not been in the situation where I need to ask for free food. So I don't know what that feels. I can only imagine what it feels like. But I can imagine there's shame attached to it. There's stigma attached to asking for help, for not paying for something. And so we wanted to make it as subtle as we possibly can and as inclusive as we can. And there is no perfect system. We've looked at all the different options, but this one seems to be working quite well in Carmarthen, where people can just hand that token in, and it could be a £5 note. Nobody really knows, and the person that's on the till, their facial expression doesn't change, you know. So so Cegin Hedyn, that's how it started, and the safety net was, I need to make sure that whatever I'm cooking, I can do it on my own. And I thought, well, a curry, I can do that for 50, 60, 100 people if I have to. And if anyone wants to come and help me, the doors are open. Come into the kitchen, you can peel the onions, you can wash the dishes, you can do this, you can do that. Flooded with people. And it was amazing. Just like the feeling of that person turning up at 7 in the morning, 6 in the morning, rocking up there, me stressed out of my head trying to make enough food for people, bam, by the clock of midday, the chef's still in me. And just an immense feeling of someone giving up their time. I never really valued how much and how important it is when somebody is donating their time towards a project. Coming from a restaurant, I have to pay for people to be there, so I don't really know if they want to be there. So they're there because they have to be there, and the feeling and the energy of working alongside someone who's there because they want to be there for a greater purpose was completely mind-blowing for me and incredible. So that process has gone really well, and I did it for about a year and then applied for a National Lottery grant because someone said, oh, it's really easy to do it and blah, blah, blah. So being dyslexic, I might have had a little bit of help from AI, maybe, but I'm not going to admit that. So we managed to get the lottery grant for £20,000. So boom, I employed someone to do the chef work for me, so I could kind of take a step out of the project because I was pretty overwhelmed at that time. So I took a step out of the project, and because I like creating chaos in the ADHD mind, I thought, great, let's start a new project then. So this is where the allotment came in to play, because I've travelled places in my life, and I've always felt this kind of homesickness, loneliness to being at home and around my family and wherever I've been. But when I went to community gardens, I didn't feel that. And I really felt strongly about that wherever I went, wherever in the world, if I went to a community garden, I was heard, I was listened to, there was good food, it felt like my mum's cooking, and I just felt at home. And I was like, we don't have anything like that in Carmarthen. So why don't you just set it up then? Great, awesome idea. And so I've ridden that wave we've been going maybe 14 months now. Every week, just turn up. Whoever turns up, we do a little bit of digging, we do a little bit of planting, we do a bit of little harvesting, we're building polytunnels, sheds, harvesting, we cook with each other every single week. And the relationships are just incredible. So the allotment's purpose is that anyone who wants to come and help and learn and grow or just be in nature, the greater purpose is that we're growing that to take to the community kitchen, to then offer it to people on the pay what you can afford basis. There's no pressure at the allotment. If we don't grow anything, we don't grow anything. If we eat it all, we eat it all. If it all dies because we haven't watered the polytunnel, that's not the greatest aim. We have an abundance of people and projects that are donating fantastic ingredients to our project. So we have an abundance of food at the moment, but the allotment is just offering people a different kind of voluntary experience than working at the cafe. So what we've achieved so far, I mean, the biggest achievement is being open. By the sounds of things, the challenge of getting funding and keeping the money coming in is incredibly challenging. And I think we've done a really good job of making sure that there's cash flow coming in, because we charge for our food. We are getting an income stream every single week. We're open for 2 lunches, so we might get 500 quid at lunchtime from someone coming in and spending £20 on their lunch rather than our suggested price. And that, we never know what's going to happen. It's incredibly difficult to budget. We never know how much it's going to cost. We never know how much money we're going to make every week, so it's pointless doing any sort of financial forecasts. But we do get a regular income from that, and that keeps us going. And yes, grants top things up. People from the restaurant, we've got a kind of a pay it forward option at the restaurant too, so people can pay it forward there, so that works really well too. And people do some charity work, some fundraising within the community for Cegin Hedyn too. So we're okay financially for the project that we're running and sustaining it as it is. And that's working okay. And where do I see the future? So the future of Cegin Hedyn, I love what it is right now. It's beautiful. It's in the heart of Carmarthen. It's in a community building underneath an English Baptist church. The community centre is separate to the Baptist church. It isn't a religious operation, but the minister from the church is one of the directors of the community centre. So I really love what the church has given to its community. They're opening up on a non-religious basis. They've never brought religion into the equation. It's their space. They're using it for what it was built for. The churches are empty around the community. They're dropping left, right and centre because no one's using them. And they're the most beautiful buildings ever. And we feel so special to be in there, to be serving this food to our community. And so the future of Cegin Hedyn is literally just to continue doing what we're doing. I want the allotment project to keep growing vegetables. I want people to feel like they can that they can turn up there whether they want to work or not, or just come for lunch. I really want to incorporate a lot of the things that you were saying today within the project. Cegin Hedyn's project just can get better what it's doing right now, rather than any sort of grand plan of futures. But that doesn't mean that I don't have any grand plans. I would love to see a Cegin Hedyn in the heart of every town, every village, and the community taking action where the governments aren't. So it would be wonderful to think that our governments would fund a community dining space where people could go and take responsibility for their own health by choosing to go in there and have that healthy meal. That's what Cegin Hedyn provides. And even if people wanted to address their health through eating good healthy food, where do you go? There's very limited places where you can go, and if there are places there, they're likely to be quite expensive to go there. So I think community kitchens are an absolute key player in things like fighting against monoculture farming, fighting against feeling isolated, fighting against the capitalist model, fighting against ultra-processed food and climate breakdown, and just doing the complete opposite of it, and looking into organic farming and using local ingredients and ones that are grown sustainably and helping nature. The opposite of isolation and just meeting people and sharing food around a table, which, I mean, come on. One of my best friends has just built a new house and he's never used his dining table. He says, we just eat in front of the TV. And I'm like, it's just bizarre, the world that we're living in right now. And ultra-processed foods, they're everywhere. I mean, convenience stores, that's all they sell. And I'm not protected and immune from this marketing, advertisement. Ultra-processed foods, they're everywhere. I get stressed. I go and grab the nearest thing. I get sugar cravings. I get cravings for these ultra-processed foods, you know. But there need to be places where people can go and there isn't that. And they need to be able to have places where they can go and make those decisions that are for themselves and for their health. But there are just few and far between places where people can even go and take action for that thing. So my ambitious future is to do that and help other people create more community kitchens similar to Cegin Hedyn anywhere that they want it to be. The grand one would be in central Cardiff with a huge hall feeding hundreds of people for lunch and dinner. So that's where I'm going to set my sights, but everywhere is as important as anywhere else to be setting up something like that. And then the challenges I wanted to put on there, which is quite interesting actually. I feel like most of the challenges are down to a lot of the neurodivergent kind of things of me running this organisation. From the ADHD perspective, you just keep on taking on too much until you get overloaded and overwhelmed. And so I'm now running a restaurant that's open 5 days a week. I'm running an allotment project that's open 1 day a week, and I'm running a community kitchen project that's open 2 days a week. I can't actually do all of those things, but they are all open and they're all running. So the biggest challenges of me trying to find a way to not just jump in and do something before actually having a plan of like working out how it's going to work. But I don't work like that. So if I have to work out how it's going to work, it's not going to happen. So Stefan hopefully he might help me, but he's given me some advice on finding other people with different traits that I can work with to try and make those things happen. But that's what I want to do. I want to create more places like Cegin Hedyn. So